Welcome back to the channel. Pilot the Garage here, and today we are going to replace the rear mainsail on the SR20 that we're putting in the Maverick. I don't know if you guys remember, if you've been watching my videos back in the beginning, we drained the oil out of it because the rear mainsail was missing, which I have it covered up at the moment, but I already got all the bolts out of it with a back cover, and then I put the engine back on the engine stand. So in this video I'm going to turn the engine. It's easier to do on an engine stand than it is. I was going to do it off the lift, but it's just easier to do it this way. So with an engine stand, you basically just, there's a pin, maybe, there's a safety pin, and you can actually turn the engine, which I always like to get on the side here. Just like so. And then we can, let's move you down to eye level here. Not eye level, eye level. Okay. Of course, you see I got oil on them before now, because the oil's running out of it. This is why we had the pig mat. And you probably can't see the oil run out of it, but the oil's all over the floor now. Alright, so we'll just let the oil keep draining. We need to remove the oil pan, of course. Hold on here. We'll see if that works. Should be 10 millimeter, and there's 3, 6, 10 bolts. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So remove all the factory bolts, and then you come across that. Yeah. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So, one of these little magnetic trays. That keeps them in the, you don't lose them. Put this up here. I'll keep all those bolts to one side, and then all the bolts for the next one into the next side, so that way I know where they go. Get a scraper. There's a gasket around this. You should be able to separate it. You should be able to. Somebody put a little bit of good coat of silicone over here. Okay. Have all the bolts out, right? Yeah. Try to break that seal. Like I said, somebody put a fair amount. Jeez. I was hoping to not have to slip the head and block, but judging from this, like this is ridiculous. I mean, they were trying their best not to. There's a little bit of, I mean, oh, you can't even see what I'm talking about here. Oop, back up. Once you get the cover off, like I said, they had so much goop on it. They were trying to make sure 110% didn't come off. Now, this is a so basically what this tray does is your oil, this is your pickup tube, so the oil pump will pump the oil out of that pan I just had in my hand and pump the oil up into the engine. So what this what this little thing does is when you go like around turns and the oil splashes or splashes, this keeps it from keeps this from going dry. Doesn't look too terribly good. There's no scoring in it or anything. Okay. Now, going to need, that looks like a 12 millimeter. Let's go this way. Okay. So, on these engines, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. There's 4 here, 2 here, and then there's 4 across the bottom. And then the reason you have to take this off is because there's 1, 2, there's 4 inside of here. Yeah. Let's take all these out now. Maybe. Really? Okay. So evidently whoever put those in, he manned them in. So let's break them. I'll use my hand. Now she ought to take it off this. There's still more down around the back. So there's 2 more down underneath here. We're going to use a wrench for. We'll use 2 wrenches. like I showed you guys this before. You take the box end of one wrench, hook it on. You need to go this way. It hooks. It's like leverage. We need to turn. Yep, to loosen it. And of course, I can't get onto it at all. Or not. Let's try this. Can't do it with the gear wrench, we'll do it with the regular wrench. Okay. And on this one. Now we'll do this. Same as we did the other one. I should be able to pry from up here. Maybe. Like I said, I don't know who put this on, but they did not skimp at all on the backers. Man. Okay. Always make sure you clean your surfaces off really good. order a new gasket kit for this. Okay. Now this thing should just pop off. All right. I'll get you to where you can see what I'm doing here. This way you can witness it whenever I break it. So, what we're looking at, this is the crank where my finger is. There's supposed to be a seal. This piece of this cover should come off. I got all the bolts out of it and all the nuts off of it. It should just separate and come off, but we all know how that's been going. I get the camera not being the oil I have on the floor. I'm very unsure exactly how this comes out. We'll bring you guys back in a second. Alright, so after a little bit of finagling and beating, I finally got the cover off. That's what the cover looks like. As you can see, there's no seal in here. But let me zoom in here. If you look down, hold on. If you look at the rear of the crank right here, you can see that there's surface rust on it. So I have, this is called emery cloth. It's basically sandpaper in a way. It's really fine. It's made for, I think machinists use it for like on lathes and stuff to smooth out metal. But you can wrap it around. This is all kind of hard to do. Don't need to stand, but I'm gonna do it with the here. Now what we're trying to do is clean up this surface. Well, it's actually really shiny in the camera now. Clean up this surface, so when we go to put the new seal on, it'll go over it and not tear, which this is what the new seal looks like. So the rear main seal, this piece slides over this shiny piece, but it has to go in here first. So this will go in here. And these are, so there's a seal here. It's really hard to see. Get the camera. Yeah, I guess you can see it. There's this piece right here is like lipped down. You see it tapers down and actually comes to like almost a point. Then on the inside of here is a spring. You see the spring in there, and that keeps tension on this, so that crank will go in here and it'll spin really, really fast. And because the way this thing's made, it won't let it seep out. And this outside ring is like a copper, I think, underneath it. All right, so we're gonna shut the camera off, move it. I'm going to clean this up over on the stand and get this put into here. And then what we'll have to do is actually pull the engine back off the stand, so then I'm able to actually silicone or permatex that and then put everything back together. Hang in there. Okay, so this is the rear cover. I'm gonna take you a cutting knife. We're gonna get all this excess off that we can, real easy. You gotta be careful whenever you do this, because you don't want to take your cutting knife and like turn it this way and like gouge into it. Take some of this emery cloth. Okay. Get the bottom surface here. Okay, so spray it with handy dandy brake cleaner. We'll try to get as much of the crud off as we can. You definitely want to make sure these surfaces are clean from contaminants, because if not, it may not make a really good seal. This is just standard brake cleaner from like AutoZone or wherever. It doesn't leave a residue. It cleans the parts pretty good and it evaporates. But sometimes you gotta make sure you clean faster than it disappears. Okay. That doesn't look bad. Now, another thing you have to watch is, I just pulled this off of there, but when you put silicone around these studs, it gets the threads all messed up with silicone, or Permatex, what you want to call it. And you got to watch, because sometimes it'll actually cause you to cross thread or not thread correctly or whatnot. Now, this thing fits in here. Get it kind of lined up where it needs to be. You can use your hands to push it down in. You just got to keep working it around a little bit at a time. You don't want it to be too far. Plus you don't want it to mess it up. It's almost done. Of course I can't really. And it's almost done. We'll tap it in with the head blow. When we do this, you gotta make sure it's on a flat surface. And you just It looks to be in. Okay, so now if you look, it's kind of hard for you to see here. If you look where this is here. Okay, so you should be able to see in here. I can't really tell if you can tell or not. But the brown will, these little fingers right here, the inside lip of this will meet it. There, I think you can see it there. But you gotta make sure it's that way the whole way around the inside. And that rear main seal's in. Alright. We're ready to do the next part. Alright, so got the engine back up on the crane. I have the rear main seal. I put gasket material, which I used the Permatex Ultra Black. It's made for oil, which this is an oil surface. Oh, I know I forgot something. Got spray the. So, a little bit of motor oil. Put this down so I can do it. Let's put it in the cap. Dip the finger in it. You just greasing up that surface. So when you go to put the rear main seal on, then you always run it on the inside of it as well. So you just take it. I have these handy dandy tools. Started. Once you get it started, you got to put pressure on it, and then it's always easier with two people. Up. She goes. Just like that. Then you put the bolts back in. Now I'm not overly familiar with the torque specs or anything. I'm just going to use a ratchet wrench. We're just going to run her down. Until she's snug. also don't want to break them. Okay. That is how you install a rear main seal on an SR20. These handy dandy tools I have. Let me back up the. So I have these tools. They look like an awl, like you can stab something with, but it's probably hard to see. The very end of it's not pointing. It's rounded. This one is too. These are made for. They're made for putting in seals, kind of like we just put in, but it's for like hydraulic cylinders, like bigger, real long for like cranes and stuff. I bought these years ago when I was working in industrial maintenance. They've come in handy with putting like that in, so that way you don't tear the cylinder. But the black silicone that I put on, this black Permatex, is get to allow 24 hours for curing, so we should be good. I mean, we're not going to start the engine up, but it'll get hard here in the next hour or two, and it'll harden up. But use black for oil, the blue is for like water, stuff with water, and then you use the red for like high temp applications, which I think I only have the black and the blue here at the garage. Alright, so I'm going to clean up the other two oil pans, get them all cleaned up and put on. I'm going to put this back down on the engine stand so it's not hanging off the chains here and run a risk of falling. Alright, so I hope this video was a little bit informative, but the next video you see, I'll already have this all put back together and cleaned up. It's basically just, it's busy work. I'm going to clean up like I said, the two oil pans and clean up all the gasket material and reseal and re-Permatex it and put it back on the engine, make it look pretty. I also need to put the flywheel on, and I want to do a compression test, so that may be one of my next videos. But thank you for watching, and see you next time.